5 words that put LeBron's legacy on trial. 5 words. That is all it took to turn one quiet NBA interview into a firestorm that basketball fans could not stop arguing about. He quits when it gets tough. The moment Isaiah Thomas said that about LeBron James, the entire conversation changed. This was not some random fan yelling online. This was not a faceless account chasing attention. This was a Hall of Fame guard, a 2-time NBA champion, and one of the most fearless competitors basketball has ever seen, looking straight into the camera and questioning something much bigger than stats, rings, or highlight plays. He was questioning LeBron's response to pressure, and that is why this story hit so hard. Because when people talk about LeBron James, they usually talk about greatness. They talk about the points, the records, the championships, the longevity, the impossible expectations he carried from the time he was a teenager. They talk about a player who has stayed near the top of the NBA for longer than almost anyone thought possible. But Isaiah did not attack the numbers. He attacked the moment. He suggested that when the lights become too hot, when the game gets too heavy, when the pressure becomes the kind that separates legends from icons, LeBron has shown a version of himself that Isaiah cannot ignore. And whether you agree with that or not, once those words were spoken, there was no way to put them back. The clip started moving through basketball circles fast. Group chats lit up. Fans started sending it to each other with the same shocked question. Did he really just say that? Some people believed Isaiah finally said out loud what critics had whispered for years. Others felt the comment was unfair, disrespectful, and completely ignored everything LeBron has accomplished across 2 decades. That is what makes this debate so explosive. This is not just about LeBron versus Isaiah. This is about LeBron versus Jordan. This is about numbers versus moments. This is about whether the GOAT title belongs to the player with the greatest resume or the player who never seemed to blink when everything was on the line. And now, because of one sentence, LeBron's legacy is back in the courtroom of public opinion. So before we go deeper, I want to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments. If you think Isaiah made a fair point, comment 1. If you think LeBron's legacy already answers every criticism, comment 2. And if you love NBA stories, drama, and debates like this, make sure you subscribe because this conversation is just getting started. Why Isaiah's words hit different. What made this moment so dangerous was not only what Isaiah Thomas said, it was who said it. Because in basketball, criticism comes from everywhere. Fans criticize, media personalities criticize, former players criticize, social media accounts build entire careers around loud opinions. But when Isaiah Thomas talks about pressure, toughness, and what it means to survive the highest levels of competition, people listen differently. This is a man who built his name in an era where nothing came easy. He was not just talented, he was ruthless in the way he competed. He led championship teams, battled giants, absorbed pressure, and became the face of a group that was hated by many, but feared by almost everyone. Isaiah understood what it meant to walk into a hostile arena and still believe the game belonged to him. That is why his comment carried weight. When Isaiah said LeBron quits when it gets tough, fans did not hear it like a normal hot take. They heard it as a challenge from one legend to another. He was not questioning whether LeBron could play. He was questioning whether LeBron's mindset in the darkest moments of a game matches the standard reserved for the greatest competitor ever, and that is where the conversation became uncomfortable. Because LeBron's career is almost impossible to attack from a numbers standpoint. The production is historic, the longevity is unreal, the records are everywhere. The finals appearances, the championships, the all-time scoring mark, the playoff resume, all of it puts him in a category very few players have ever reached. So Isaiah did not fight the resume. He went after the feeling, the body language, the eyes, the response when the other team punches first, the way a superstar carries himself when the game starts slipping away. The moments when leadership is not about assists, points, or interviews, but about making every teammate believe the battle is not over. That is a harder thing to measure. And because it is harder to measure, it creates deeper arguments. LeBron supporters can point to legendary performances and say the criticism makes no sense. Critics can point to certain playoff moments and say Isaiah is describing something they have noticed for years. Both sides believe they are seeing the truth. That is why Isaiah's words did not disappear. They hit a nerve. They opened a door that had been cracked for years. And once that door opened, the entire NBA world had to walk through it. The compliment that turned into an accusation. The most interesting part of Isaiah's comments is that he did not begin by calling LeBron James overrated. That would have been easier to dismiss. Instead, Isaiah actually gave LeBron credit. He talked about LeBron's intelligence, his physical gifts, his ability to see the floor, and the way he understands basketball at a level almost nobody else can match. In Isaiah's view, LeBron is not just a great athlete. He is one of the smartest game planners the sport has ever seen. And that is what made the criticism sharper. Because when you praise a player that much, then still question his response to pressure, the attack becomes more specific. Isaiah was not saying LeBron lacked talent. He was saying talent was not the issue. He was saying greatness in the GOAT conversation requires something beyond skill, size, passing, scoring, or basketball IQ. It requires a certain kind of presence when the game turns hostile. That is the part fans could not stop debating. LeBron has given basketball some of the most iconic performances of the modern era. He has carried undermanned teams. He has dominated playoff series. He has won on different franchises, in different systems, with different teammates, under constant pressure. For his supporters, that alone proves the accusation is unfair. But Isaiah's point was not about whether LeBron has ever been great under pressure. His point was whether LeBron has always met the standard expected from the player many call the greatest of all time. That difference mattered, because the GOAT debate is not normal. It is not fair. It is not balanced. It does not judge players like regular stars. It magnifies everything. Every bad game becomes evidence. Every hesitation becomes a theory. Every missed shot, every pass, every facial expression in a losing moment becomes part of the argument. That is the burden of being compared to Michael Jordan. And Isaiah leaned directly into that burden. He suggested that there were moments when LeBron's body was still on the court, but his spirit looked somewhere else. That line may be harsh, but it is exactly the kind of observation that forces fans to choose side. Because if you believe Isaiah, then LeBron's resume is not enough to close the debate. But if you reject Isaiah's view, then his comments sound like an emotional, old-school critique that ignores 2 decades of historic excellence. And that is why this story became so big. It was not a simple insult, it was a compliment that turned into an accusation. The Jordan standard, the moment Michael Jordan's name entered the conversation, everything became heavier. Because LeBron James is not only being judged against other stars from his own generation, he is being judged against a ghost that still controls the imagination of basketball fans. Jordan is not just a former player in these debates. He is a standard, a symbol, a measuring stick that every all-time great eventually runs into. And Isaiah Thomas knew exactly what he was doing when he brought Jordan into the discussion. For Isaiah, the difference was not just championships. It was not only finals records, scoring titles, MVPs, or highlight moments. It was the feeling that when the game reached its most dangerous point, Jordan became colder, sharper, and more terrifying. The bigger the stage became, the more locked in he appeared. That is the image people remember. Jordan staring down opponents, Jordan taking the last shot, Jordan turning pressure into fuel. Jordan making defenders feel like they were not just guarding a player, but standing in front of a storm they could not stop. To Isaiah, that version never disappeared when the stakes were highest. And that is where his comparison cut deep. Because LeBron's greatness has always looked different. LeBron often makes the right basketball play. He reads defenses. He trusts teammates. He controls tempo. He manipulates matchups. He can dominate without forcing the game into a one-man show. For modern basketball minds, that is proof of genius. But for fans who grew up on the Jordan standard, sometimes the right play is not enough emotional. They want the kill shot. They want the stare. They want the feeling that a superstar would rather take the entire weight of the moment than let anyone else touch it. They want the myth, not only the math. That is why the GOAT debate never ends. LeBron supporters argue that basketball is a team game, and making the smart play should be celebrated. Jordan supporters argue that the greatest player ever must own the moment so completely that nobody questions who the game belongs to. Isaiah's comments poured gasoline on that old argument. He did not just ask whether LeBron was great. Everyone already knows he is. He asked whether LeBron's greatest moments feel as undeniable, as ruthless, and as psychologically overwhelming as Jordan. And for many fans, that is the real debate. Not numbers versus numbers. It is memory versus memory. Feeling versus feeling. Legacy versus legend. The clip that refused to stay quiet. At first, it did not look like the kind of clip that would take over the basketball world. There was no screaming, no dramatic walk-off, no stage confrontation. Isaiah Thomas was simply sitting in an interview, speaking in a calm voice, answering a basketball question the way former players do all the time. But then the words landed, and once fans heard them, the clip started traveling. Not always through the biggest shows, not always through the loudest media accounts, it moved in a more personal way. One fan sent it to a friend dropped it into a group chat, someone clipped the most shocking line, someone else added a caption, then suddenly, basketball fans everywhere were asking the same thing. Did Isaiah really just say that about LeBron? That kind of spread is powerful because it feels organic. It does not need a network desk or a television segment to survive. It survives because fans feel like they discovered something they are not supposed to ignore. And the more people reacted, the more the story grew. Some fans watched the clip and immediately sided with Isaiah. They said he was only saying what had been discussed privately for years. They brought up old playoff debates, fourth quarter arguments, body language breakdowns, and the long-running question of whether LeBron always embraces the most uncomfortable moments the way Jordan did. Other fans reacted with frustration. They saw the clip as unfair. To them, LeBron has been criticized for almost everything across his career. If he shoots, people say he is forcing it. If he passes, people say he is afraid. If he speaks, people say he is controlling the narrative. If he stays quiet, people say the silence proves something. That is the impossible box LeBron lives in. And Isaiah's words pushed him right back into it. The strange part was how the story seemed to feel bigger among fans than it did in some mainstream conversations at first. That contrast made people even more interested. When a clip feels explosive in group chats but quieter on major platforms, fans start asking why. They start watching more closely. They start saving it, reposting it, and debating whether the silence around it is part of the story. That is how a basketball clip becomes more than a clip. It becomes evidence. Not evidence of one clear truth, but evidence that the NBA world still cannot agree on LeBron James. Even after everything he has done, one sentence from Isaiah Thomas was enough to reopen the trial. The silence around the storm. One of the most fascinating parts of this story was not only what people said, it was what some people did not say. After Isaiah Thomas made his comment, many fans expected the sports world to explode immediately. A statement that bold, aimed at a player as famous as LeBron James, felt like the perfect topic for debate shows, podcasts, reaction videos, and endless arguments. In today's NBA media cycle, even a small LeBron headline can dominate an entire day. But this felt different. Some fans believe the reaction was quieter than expected. Not absent, but quieter. Not completely ignored, but not as loud as they imagined. And that made the conversation even more interesting. Because when fans feel like a story is not getting the attention it deserves, they often push harder. They repost, they question, they compare. They ask why one controversy becomes a headline for 3 days while another seems to move mostly through fan circles. Now, it is important to be careful here. There are many normal reasons why a clip may not dominate major coverage. Timing matters. Editorial choices matter. Other NBA stories may be happening at the same time. Platforms may handle uploads differently. Creators may delete or change posts for reasons that have nothing to do with the subject of the clip. But perception matters too. And the perception among some fans was that Isaiah's comments were too strong to be treated like just another interview moment. In their minds, a Hall of Famer questioning LeBron's mentality should have been everywhere. The fact that it was not everywhere only made them talk about it more. That is the modern NBA media machine. Sometimes the story is the quote. Sometimes the story is the reaction. And sometimes the story is the reaction to the lack of reaction. LeBron's name carries enormous weight. His brand is massive. His career is historic. His supporters are loyal. And his critics are relentless. Any conversation involving his legacy automatically becomes bigger than basketball because LeBron has become bigger than basketball. That is why Isaiah's words created such a strange storm. They were direct enough to divide fans, sharp enough to reignite the GOAT debate, and controversial enough to make people wonder why the conversation did not immediately dominate every major platform. And in a way, that silence helped the story grow. Because nothing makes fans lean closer than the feeling that there is something still being left unsaid. The fan base split in half. Once the clip spread, the NBA world divided almost instant. On one side were the fans who believed Isaiah Thomas had finally said the quiet part out loud. They argued that LeBron's career, as great as it is, has always included moments that invited questions. They pointed to certain playoff losses, certain fourth quarters, certain expressions on the bench, and certain decisions late in games. To them, Isaiah was not being disrespectful. He was being honest. They saw his comment as an old-school competitor judging another superstar by the harshest possible standard. In their eyes, that is exactly what the GOAT debate demands. If you want the crown, they argued, you cannot only accept the praise. You have to survive the most uncomfortable questions too. But the other side pushed back just as hard. LeBron's supporters saw the criticism as selective and unfair. They pointed out that no player reaches LeBron's level without extraordinary mental toughness. You do not play more than 2 decades under a microscope, carry championship expectations since high school, win titles in multiple cities, break historic records, and remain elite for that long if you cannot handle pressure. To them, Isaiah's comment ignored the bigger picture. They argued that every legend has low moments. Jordan had playoff losses before he won. Kobe had difficult nights. Magic, Bird, Kareem, Shaq, Duncan, everyone had games that critics could isolate and use against them. But only LeBron seems to have every imperfect moment turned into a referendum on his courage. That is why emotions ran so hot. This was not just a basketball disagreement. For many people, LeBron represents a whole era of the NBA. His fans grew up with him. They watched him go from teenage phenom to global icon. They remember the impossible expectations, the criticism, the comebacks, the titles, the records, and the constant pressure. So when Isaiah questioned his toughness, it felt personal to them. Meanwhile, Jordan supporters and LeBron critics felt like the reaction proved their point. They believed people were too protective of LeBron's legacy and too unwilling to discuss the parts of his career that do not fit the perfect narrative. That is what makes this debate impossible to settle. Both sides have evidence. Both sides have emotion. Both sides believe history is on their side. And Isaiah's 5 words did not create that divide. They exposed it, what LeBron's silence really meant. Then came the part that made fans study the situation even closer. LeBron James did not fire back. No dramatic statement. No long interview response. No direct public message aimed at Isaiah Thomas. At least in that moment, LeBron seemed to let the conversation happen without stepping into the middle of it. And that silence became its own storyline. Some fans saw it as confidence. In their view, LeBron did not need to respond because his career had already spoken loudly enough. The records were there, the championships were there, the longevity was there, the iconic performances were there. Why should a player with that resume stop everything to answer one former player's opinion? From that perspective, silence was power. It said, argue if you want, but the history is already written. Others saw it differently. They believed LeBron stayed quiet because responding would only make the story bigger. In the media age, a superstar's reply can turn one clip into a full news cycle. Every sentence gets dissected, every word becomes a headline, every facial expression becomes a theory. LeBron knows that better than anyone. He has lived inside that machine for his entire adult life. So maybe the smartest move was no move at all. Let the fans argue, let the former players talk, let the debate burn itself out without giving it more oxygen. But critics had another interpretation. They believed the silence left Isaiah's question hanging in the air. To them, not responding did not erase the accusation. It made the debate feel unresolved. If Isaiah's claim was so wrong, they wondered, why not shut it down directly? That is the tricky thing about silence. It can look like strength to one side and avoidance to another. And with LeBron, every choice gets interpreted through whatever people already believe about him. Supporters see maturity, critics see strategy, neutral fans see another layer of mystery in a debate that already refuses to die. But maybe the most honest answer is simpler. LeBron has reached a stage where every legacy debate is bigger than one response. No statement can convince everyone. No interview can end the Jordan comparison. No social media post can erase decades of arguments about clutch moments, leadership, pressure, and greatness. That is the burden of being LeBron James. Even when he says nothing, the silence still becomes part of the story. Legacy is more than numbers. The deeper this debate goes, the clearer one thing becomes. Legacy is not built by numbers alone. Stats matter, championships matter, records matter, longevity matters. And by every measurable standard, LeBron James belongs among the greatest players in basketball history. His career has stretched across eras, teams, pressure, criticism, and impossible expectations. Very few athletes have ever carried that kind of weight for that long. But the GOAT debate has never been only about the resume. It is also about memory. What do fans remember when the game was tight? What did a superstar look like when the season was on the line? Did he control the moment? Or did the moment control him? That is where Isaiah Thomas aimed his criticism. He was not asking people to erase LeBron's greatness. He was asking whether LeBron's biggest pressure moments created the same emotional certainty that fans attach to Michael Jordan. And that question is difficult because it cannot be solved with a box score. LeBron supporters point to legendary performances, championship runs, the chase down block, elimination game dominance, and years of carrying teams under extreme pressure. To them, the answer is obvious. LeBron has already proven himself. Critics point to other moments, losses, hesitation, body language, and games where they felt he did not impose himself the way they expected from the greatest ever. That is why this debate survives. Legacy is part achievement and part emotion. It is the record and the memory, the stat sheet and the feeling, the result and the way people remember the pressure. And for LeBron James, that is what makes the conversation so complicated. His career may be one of the most complete in NBA history, but for some fans, the GOAT crown still comes down to one question. When everything got toughest, what version of him showed up? The GOAT debate will never be the same. In the end, Isaiah Thomas did not erase LeBron James' greatness. No interview can do that. No 5-word quote can wipe away championships, records, iconic performances, and 2 decades of dominance. LeBron's place in basketball history is already secure, but Isaiah did something powerful. He forced fans to look at the GOAT debate from a different angle. Not just numbers, not just rings, not just awards. He brought the conversation back to pressure, mentality, leadership, body language, and the invisible things fans feel when the game is on the line. That is why his comment mattered. If someone questions LeBron's scoring, the numbers answer. If someone questions his longevity, the years answer. If someone questions his impact, the resume answers. But if someone questions how he looked in the toughest moments, the debate becomes emotional and almost impossible to end. That is where legends are judged most harshly. The bigger lesson is simple. Greatness is not only about talent. It is about how a player carries pressure, handles criticism, and responds when the world is watching. Every superstar faces doubt, every legend has flaws, and every fan remembers history through a different lens. There is also a human side to this. Fans can debate LeBron, Jordan, and Isaiah without turning the conversation into hate. Respecting one legend does not mean tearing down another. The game is bigger than one argument. Different eras, different standards, different memories, same love for basketball. So now it is your turn. If you think Isaiah made a fair point, comment 1. If you believe LeBron's legacy already answers the criticism, comment 2. If you think the GOAT debate should include both numbers and mentality, comment 3. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, share it with another NBA fan, and subscribe to the channel for more NBA stories, drama, and the biggest debates in basketball. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.